Hey everyone, it's Ollie and welcome to the next tutorial in this series of Java for Beginners. So in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you about something called array lists. Now array lists are basically dynamic arrays. So if you think back to when I did the tutorials on the normal arrays and multi-dimensional arrays, you'll know that when we declare the array, when we initialize it, we have to tell it how large each dimension of the array is going to be. And that means that it's kind of limited because we can't, if we don't know how many we need, then we would either have to do like a massive, just give it a massive initial number, and that's going to waste memory because we may not even need like half as many as what we say. So the way we get around this is by using array lists, and they're basically dynamic arrays, and you can add to them, remove them, and you don't need to give it a definitive size at the beginning. So to do this tutorial, you're going to need to know the basics of OOP, which we've learned in the in 2 tutorials previous, or maybe 3, I can't quite remember. So I won't be touching on anything that we haven't done already, just the very basics of object-oriented programming. So to do an array list, to use an array list, we first need to declare an array list, and we do this by saying the word array list, like so, and that's basically the name of the object, the name of the variable type, object type that we want to create, and let's give it a name. We can call it a list, and now we can set it equal to a new array list, like so. And if you remember from the introduction to object-oriented programming, we say the type of object, we can give it a name as usual, we can set it equal to a new one of those objects, and then we leave it with our either empty brackets, or if there's a constructor, we can give it values into the constructor. In this case, we don't have to give values into the constructor, so we can leave it blank. So why is there still an error here? It's because Java can't find this class here, because it's hidden away in a different package. And that brings me on to another point about something called imports. Now, we already know that Java has loads of built-in classes that we can use. So the ones we've seen so far are like system, string, and possibly some others, but I can't remember. So, but those classes that we use are immediately available to us because they're the sort of most commonly used ones, and we don't want to have to fiddle about importing stuff for them. But there are ones that are hidden away in different packages, and these packages are basically like folders that just store all the different classes. So the way we get the array list is we have to find it in the packages, and you obviously won't have to manually find it. You can hit Alt and Enter, like so, and it's going to ask you what it thinks you mean, and it either asks you to create your own array list class, or it says add import for java.util.arraylist. You can double click on that and it will do it, but I'm just going to show you how we do it first. So imports have to be at the top of your file, and we say import, and you'll see it's a Java keyword, and then we just type the path to where the class is. So in this case it's java dot, and you can see it's appeared with suggestions, and it's in java.util.array. You can see how many different classes there are, and it's in array list, like so. And then we can just put a semicolon. So now we've imported this array list class. If we want to take a look at it, we can hold Control and click on it. You'll see that it underlines like a hyperlink, and you'll see that this is the array list class here. And my mouse is, there it is. So we can just scroll through it. You can see it's a pretty hefty class, but we don't really need to worry about that. That's just showing you that out of interest. So now that we've imported the array list and we have it here ready to use, we can now begin using the functionality. So we're going to access the methods of the array list by calling the variable list, and then we can put the full stop, and you see that these are all the different methods it has. So you'll see that we have this add method here. I'm only going to be showing you the add and remove one, also the get one. So let's first of all get some values. Say we're storing names as usual, pretty boring, but heyo. We'll say string name 1 equals Ollie, string name 2 equals Aiden. And now that we have name 1, name 2, we can add them to this list right here. So we can say list.add name 2 and name 1, like so. So we can say list.add name1, list.add name2. So now this list has two elements in it, and you'll notice that we didn't anywhere have to specify the size of the array list, because it's dynamic, we can just add as many things as we like, until Java runs out of memory, of course, but we can just keep adding things and we can remove elements and so on. So if I now say like system.out.println, and then the one I print out is list.get, and then we give it an index of which one we want to get, and it's still 0 indexing like arrays are. So this one here, this name1, is the 0th one, and this one is the second one as we add them, or sorry, 0th and first one as we add them. So if I access the 0th one, you'll see that we get Ollie, and if I copy it down and put the 1, you'll see it will print out Aiden. So it should print out Ollie, Aiden, like so. So that's how we add elements to the array list and then remove them. So now I'll show you how we can delete them. We simply write list, or the name of our array list variable, then we can put the full stop and remove. And you'll see there's two different methods of a remove. They take different parameters. We can either specify the original object that we added to remove it, so in other words name1, and that will remove the name1 object, or we can slightly safer way of doing it, we can remove it via the index. So we can say 0, which would remove the name Ollie, and then 1 would remove the name Aiden. So I'll show you the removing with the index first. So oops, you don't do that. List.get, and then we'll say 0 to get the 0th one, because I believe they shift back down once you've done it. And there we go. You'll see that. So what's happened here is we've declared name1, name2. We've added name1, then name2. We print out list.get0, list.get1. That gets Ollie and then Aiden. Then we remove the 0th one, which was Ollie, and then ones above it will be shifted down 1. So you can see Aiden becomes the 0th one because we print out 0, and then it prints out Aiden for a second time, like so. And then we can remove it. I'll show you how we can remove it via the object. So we can write name2, and it will remove name2. And you'll see again that it's removed the name Aiden, and then it just prints out the name Ollie. So that's pretty much an introduction to array lists, how we use add, remove, and get functions. Hopefully you'll find them more useful than arrays. I know that I usually find them a lot more useful than arrays when I'm programming. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial we're going to be looking at string functions.